And I also don't know of any evidence that there's some kind of vast underlying organization funding them. Is that what you're indicating is happening here?
Yes, in fact, we know that it's true. But obviously...
You think Tyler Robinson was being funded by some terrorist organization?
No, what I said was that you asked whether there was some larger criminal conspiracy related to domestic terrorism in this country. And I said yes.
Tonight, so many questions remain about the man behind this horrific attack.
On Sunday morning, a madman killed at least 4 people and wounded 8 others at a Michigan Latter-day Saints church. The horror started around 10:30 a.m. when he rammed his Chevy Silverado truck into the building, where hundreds of worshipers had gathered for a Sunday service in Grand Blanc Township.
We're back with details of a deadly car and stabbing attack at a synagogue in England on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Police now confirming 2 people have died in the attack on the Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester earlier this morning. 3 others are injured, and a person believed to be the suspect is also dead after he was shot by police.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. Is it fair to call Tyler Robinson a Mormon or a Mormon kid? That's not how I think of him, but I wonder whether Thomas Sanford thought of him that way. If he did, he wouldn't have been wrong. Robinson's family are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, if you see the Charlie Kirk shooting through just the lens of Mormonism, which some do, but which I think is a distortion, then it's easy to take that idea to the next step, which is to imagine Mormons are the enemy. And remember what Trump said.
Best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent.
That's not what Charlie Kirk or his wife stood for, by the way, retribution or revenge. Remember, an eye for an eye leaves everyone blind. This is dangerous thinking, and from outside of America, it really is quite strange to see Americans hating Americans. Is it pure coincidence that barely 2 weeks after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there's a high-profile attack on an LDS, that's Mormon church? And is the mass killer someone from the right trying to get retribution against the left?
On our side.
Is it? Are you?
According to an article in the New York Post, the deranged madman who killed at least 4 people and wounded 8 others at a Michigan Latter-day Saints church is a 40-year-old Iraq war veteran who served in the U.S. Marines, the Post can confirm. Thomas Jacob Sanford rammed his Chevy Silverado truck into the building before opening fire on worshippers at a Sunday service of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. The vehicle had 2 large American flags behind the cab and a set of deer antlers attached to the bumper. Now, the images surrounding all of this give one pause. Like Tyler Robinson, Sanford was a hunter. Like Tyler Robinson, Sanford had some clearly patriotic motive in mind. If Robinson wore a shirt with a flag on it, Sanford wore his flags in his truck. And does anyone notice the similarity between the shirts worn by Thomas Crooks and Tyler Robinson? Both have what appears to be a flying eagle on their shirts. And does anyone believe this madman was on the left? According to the Daily Beast, a pro-Donald Trump sign was spotted outside the home of Thomas Jacob Sanford, the suspect in the shooting at a nearby Mormon church that was set ablaze on Sunday. Like Tyler Robinson, Sanford was a lone wolf. According to the Daily Mail, one of the most critical things to recognize about mass shooters is that their self-proclaimed causes do not matter as much as their deep isolation from society. Like Tyler Robinson, Sanford's fortune seemed to be on the wane. A dormant GoFundMe page from 2015 raised more than $3,000 for the couple's now 10-year-old son, who was born with congenital hyperinsulinism, or CGI, a rare genetic condition where the pancreas releases too much insulin. Although detectives are probing a connection with the LDS Church president, I suspect the trigger lies elsewhere. Now, one thing I've noticed with a lot of these shooters, people seem to be surprised, so surprised that they don't accept them. First of all, they don't accept that they're lone wolves. And secondly, because they kind of look geeky or kind of weak in a way, people just feel like this can't be the person responsible. And think about some of the people who have been responsible. Look at these faces. Brian Koberger, isolated, alone, humiliated in a social setting. Adam Lanza, isolated, alone. He was responsible for the Sandy Hook shootings. Richard Allen, a small, diminutive, some might even say pathetic-looking man. Chris Watts, a quiet, understated person as well. Thomas Crook, someone who looks really a lot like a nerd. And then Tyler Robinson. Do you recognize a pattern? Have a look at the links between Robinson and 29-year-old shooter Joshua Jan, the gunman who opened fire on an immigration and customs enforcement facility in Dallas on Wednesday. Anti-ice was crudely written in blue ink on unspent shell casings recovered from the rooftop where a gunman opened fire. This is the third case in recent history where a shooter has done that. The others were Luigi Mangione and Tyler Robinson. And if you do your research, there's also a fourth version of this. According to the Daily Mail, last month in Minneapolis, Robin Westman, 23, murdered 2 children and injured 21 others in the Annunciation Church shooting. He covered weapons and ammunition in writings, including anti-Semitic garbage like 6 million wasn't enough and other politically charged ramblings. So could it be that Sanford was responding to this attack on a church or the Tyler Robinson shooting or both? Meanwhile, you can see a profile emerging, male, white, disenfranchised, with a grievance of some sort. Another trend that seems to be emerging is just a battle between science and theology, or theology and something else. Anyway, John's brother Noah, for example, told NBC News that his brother was unemployed at the time of the shooting and planned to move back into their parents' home. It's also been confirmed that the shooter logged over 10,000 hours playing video games and was obsessed with online culture. Dallas shooter Joshua Jan, like Robinson and Sanford, was also a hunter. Also was obsessed with playing video games. Do you see a pattern emerging? Back to the article, these killers often have little positive interaction with mainstream society, and while there's obviously no justification for their crimes, they often find connection in the darkest reaches of the web. These are corners where nihilism and depravity are celebrated. It's there that they seek membership. And where would you say this nihilism is coming from? Well, it comes from reality. It comes from a sense of meaninglessness, purposelessness, and powerlessness. It's very real. There's a lot in modern society that makes us feel that way, including mindless consumerism, materialism, and huge cultural shifts that seem to make some loners even lonelier. But spending time playing nihilistic games makes it worse. Spending time not trying to find meaning in the real world, but actively trying to convince yourself that everything is meaningless in a virtual one, well, that eventually makes your limbo your reality.
Who would want to be stuck in a dream for 10 years?
To log 10,000 hours in first-person shooters or immersive strategy games is not trivial. Malcolm Gladwell writes in Outliers that 10,000 hours is the amount of time necessary for mastery in any craft, except the skill here is inhabiting a virtual world where killing is rewarded with points, achievements, and leaderboard status. In short, it's an ego boost. In short, you're getting men deriving their ego from playing these games, these violent, aggressive shooting games. Now, whatever is going on in the background online, the manifestation now, offline, in our reality is horrifying. Look at these images. This is a homegrown American attacking America. And for what? An idea. For those caught up in blaming the other side, I think you miss the point. It's not a left or right-wing issue. The issue is that society has become sick and polarized and is being sickened more and more by online forces, games, platforms, algorithms. Social media is making us decidedly antisocial. Just do some introspection. Wouldn't you say that is true of you? That your consumption of social media is making you less connected to the people around you? Make no mistake, getting seduced by an idea may not be anyone's fault, but failing to wake up from an idea and failing to come back to reality is someone's fault. Spend too much time playing with fictions and fairy tales, and you will lose your grasp of reality. What happens then is it becomes dead easy to blame someone else, when really the blame for who we are, what we have become, and how we see the world and ourselves in it is our responsibility. But that's really it, isn't it? We lose responsibility. Let's put those words on screen. We lose responsibility when we live in make-believe worlds. That's also why we live in them to begin with, because we can't or won't try to come up with responsibility. And so what a shooting shows in just a very basic sense is response inability. Does that make sense? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.